Hello Wolfpack. Cartesi CTSI is a super profitable coin that we were trading about a month ago in the Wolfpack. I think we got in somewhere, look, this is just off the top of my head, but somewhere in the around 5 to 6 cent region, possibly even the high fours. I can't really remember. But the point is we got up, quite substantially from that region, around 60, 70, 80%. In a matter of weeks, so good trade there. Congratulations, Wolfpack. But the reason I'm making this video now is because we have another potential trading opportunity coming up on Cartesi that is looking interesting for sure. And that is that, well, straight into it. We had this triangular formation, broke out to the upside, right, as expected, and so we can delete that now, and that was great. That was good to see. However, we haven't actually finished that move, and the reason why is because, well, we can take the first test of the bottom, and we can move it up to the first test of the top, extrapolate that to the breakout point. We can see, well, we're still due for a few, we're still due for $1.35 in Cartesi on this triangular breakout, but it hasn't happened so far, and there's a reason for that. And we have actually entered another triangular formation instead of just continuing to the upside, and that is this triangular formation here, which targets, let's see here, first test of the bottom to the first test of the top, extrapolate that to a supposed breakout point. It targets the same region. In fact, it targets literally the same price. I said $1.35 on the last one. This one's $1.34. Actually, if you moved it up a little bit, it'd be $1.35. So it's pretty clear that we have a lot of things targeting $1.35, and coincidentally, $1.35 is also a pretty prominent resistance zone, right? I'll put it there. So between $1.28 and $1.35, we have some pretty strong resistance, and both of those triangles that I've just highlighted both target that region. We also have, right, and just to quickly note, this triangular breakout is going to be happening within the next 8 days, right? We have 8 days left in the triangular pattern. So within the next week, we're going to be breaking out of this triangle for sure. Whether that's to the downside or the upside, I think it's going to be to the upside personally, but I'll get to that in a second. We also have, and what I highlighted in the last video is that we had this head and shoulders pattern here. This is what I said in the last video. And I think we bought in somewhere down here. And then I said we're going to break to the upside, right? We did see that. We did break to the upside, and we did finish that head and shoulders pattern. And we broke, to the upside. And let's actually measure to see what that pattern actually meant here. We can go to the neckline and extrapolate that to the breakout point around here. And we can see we kind of finished the move from that pattern. I'm doing a lot of extrapolation right now. But the reason I'm making this video is because, well, I've just discovered another head and shoulders pattern, but this time a much larger one, right? We have the left shoulder here, the head, and then the right shoulder forming right now. And the breakout point on this head and shoulders pattern will take us, if we measure the neckline to, let's measure the neckline to this resistance zone here, right? The breakout point will be about, if we break out from the current region, $1.30. So notice, and this is where all the similarities are coming from, and this is why I'm making this video. Notice we had two triangles. One of them targeted $1.34, one of them targeted $1.35, and this head and shoulders pattern targets $1.28. So we have three separate patterns indicating basically the same price, which is currently anywhere from 50% to 57% away from current region. So we might have a very good trading signal set up here. And the reason why I think we're going to break this larger head and shoulders pattern to the upside is because, well, pretty simply, the market is in a much better position than it was in, in August and September. Bitcoin is almost doubled in price from the prices in August and September. Maybe not quite double, but up 80% or roughly in that region. And most altcoins are doing great. The altcoin market cap has taken 1.5 trillion. Ethereum has moved up past new all-time highs. There's not really any reason why we'll move down here on Cartesi unless something internally happens with Cartesi, such as, some sort of hack or something like that, which is possible, but very unlikely. So I think we're going to be breaking to the upside here. And as I said, within the next week. So Cartesi looks bullish. We have, a significantly lower valued MACD, which means we have more room to move to the upside right now. We also have, much more sustainable longer-term SMAs in form of support. So if we do see wicks downwards, we can get those wicks eaten back up and get back into the triangle in a very short period of time because they're much closer than what they were down here in August and September. As for the VVPR, and this is an interesting one to look at, we have seen on the VVPR that once we actually break through this red line, which is the neckline in the head and shoulders pattern at around 85 cents, right? decisively, right, if we close above 85 cents, which it's acting as strong resistance right now, the VVPR from there only goes downwards, which means the volatility is only going to get higher, which means that Cartesi is going to move faster and faster and faster progressively from that point onwards, which is great to see. We also have on the Bollinger Bands a little bit of a tightening on the Bollinger Bands, ready for the next move, which is good to see as well. And we're also hugging the center line, which means that we're kind of ready to have a break off here. We've constantly retested that center line for about 2 weeks, so we're ready to break to the upside. As for the SMAs, they look good as well. As you can see, the red SMA here, the 100, is acting as support in case of any drops, and we have the pink and the yellow, which are the 12 and the 26, acting as short-term support on the bottom side of a triangle, which will make it very difficult for us to break to the downside. So I really think this triangle is going to break to the upside. As for the weekly chart, we've just seen a bullish MACD cross, which is an indicator that the trend is reversing, and hence we're going to be seeing some upwards momentum, which we've already seen in the last couple of weeks. We have a consistent higher-low basis, and we're compressing. We've had a higher high and then a lower high, right? So it's a bit of a triangular formation, and hence an explosion needs to come from that, which would most likely look something like this. Essentially, we're testing up, as we've discovered on the daily chart here, testing up on this resistance zone here. But as for price predictions, I think I've made a price prediction on Cartesi before, but essentially, you know, it's a brand new coin, very hard to actually get an accurate price prediction on Cartesi. So, you know, all we can really do is have an extrapolation of data. When Cartesi reached around $1.75, Bitcoin was at 64K. Assuming Bitcoin goes to my price target of 113K by January the 6th, and assuming Cartesi outperforms Bitcoin by around 50%, which is what most altcoins typically do in an altcoin season, we will see Cartesi reach a price target of around $4, right? And I think I would have said that exactly in my last video, because that's the base extrapolation method I use for a lot of altcoins, where I'm not really sure where they're going. So that's a very, very, very rough price prediction, around $4 for Cartesi, which is around just under a 4x, maybe a 5x from current prices. So not too bad. And I wanted to mention one more thing on the weekly chart, which is the bull market support band is also acting in the 70-cent region. If you take a note of where that is on this chart here, 70 cents is just down here. You'll also note that the 50 and 200-day SMAs are acting in that same region. So if we actually do see a drop to the downside, it's very, very, very unlikely that we're going to be dropping too much. So Cartesi is very low risk right now. It's very high reward as well. As for the Bitcoin pair, we're looking on the 3-day chart here, and we can see that Cartesi has successfully held, as expected, the 600 sat support zone, the 600 between 600 and 800. Sorry, 600 and 850. Sorry, 950 and 850. Sorry about that. We successfully held that as expected. We expected that we'd be rejecting from this area, come back down to here, and then bounce. And we've literally seen that play out perfectly. It's a great prediction there. And we're going to be having, most likely, a W formation here on Cartesi. Now, it wouldn't be too abnormal to see a little bit more downside here as Bitcoin makes its final push. But, you know, it's nothing we're going to bet on at this point. But the overall general trend will be when we enter January around this region, when Bitcoin starts to top out, Cartesi will have its explosion to the upside, because most likely it will top out with the rest of the altcoins, not with Bitcoin, right? We're not 100% certain because we haven't seen a previous cycle, but that's what we're expecting at least. So it looks good on the Bitcoin pair as well. Overall, what are we targeting? We're targeting $1.28 to $1.35, as seen by the head and shoulders pattern and 2 triangular formations. And we're probably, and you can't be certain, so it's probably best to wait for a confirmed breakout, right? I always wait for confirmations. I'm currently not holding this because I'm waiting for the trade to actually activate, right? Which is a daily close over this region. Always wait for confirmations. But as I said, probably going to be breaking the upside is there as well. I'd probably say we're about 85% likely to break to the upside here in Cartesi. And on the occasion that we do break to the downside, which is the more unlikely occasion, but it is definitely possible, we have a lot of support, and it's very unlikely it will actually drop below anything like 61 cents unless something internally happens. So it looks good. Good risk-reward ratio, and we're ready to see what's going to happen for the future on Cartesi. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one.